Hey, everybody. Oh, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm super excited. Okay, so I had a little technical snafu behind the scenes when I was, trying to connect the channels and all of that to go live. So my apologies that we are behind schedule. We were having such a good time behind the scenes as well. This is episode 3 of the limited series Mid-Life Dating Chronicles. And tonight we are talking about dates, data collection, and deal breakers. We're going to do a recap, but we also, Shawnee and I, have heard from our contingent. Shawty has heard from her folks. I've heard from my folks on social media, text messages, inbox messenger, the whole 9 yards. That what did we say, Chris? Shawnee, we want Chris. We want
We
Chris.
want, yes, that's what they were saying.
Everybody appreciates that we have you, Chris. So we're gonna do a real quick recap. So episode 1. If you missed it, the same place that you're looking at us right now, you can go back in the timeline and see episode 1. We talked about being healed and whole. Are you even in the place to be dating? And we understand and fully accept and acknowledge that healing and wholeness is a process, but we want to be certain that we're not still broken and bleeding, trying to get into something else, get into something new, right?
Mhm.
Um, the second episode, we talked about, oh God, what did we talk about? We talked about,
Dating
oh,
profile.
Profiles, like
that's
lying on your
right.
profile.
We talked, right, truths versus truths and lies versus profiles and perspectives, something
Yes.
along that line. Yes, so your dating profiles, we all agreed that you need to have a recent picture up, and recent means within the last 6 months, preferably 90 days, right? Face picture, full body picture, and not list all the stuff that you don't want, but talk about the things that you enjoy doing, what you're looking for, and that sort of thing. Because if you're angry in your profile, you're going to be angry in person. We want to make sure we project the who we really are authentically. So, um, and then each of us has our dating, midlife dating is like. So now that we're in episode 3, has anybody's perspective changed? Like what you feel like midlife dating is like?
Um, I'm gonna change mine, Dr. Lisa. I'm gonna
Okay.
change mine because I think we are just all trying. I as humans, we are not supposed to be alone, right? And we are just all trying to do life in partnership, right? Whatever that looks like, right? It could be as casual as you need it to be, and it could be as invested as you need it to be. The spectrum is wide. And I think when you put all the people and all of our life experiences into like all together in the mix, all of our trauma, right? All of our joys, all of our sorrows, it's just a lot. And I think having a little bit of grace with ourselves and with each other goes a long way, and not to take everything so personal.
Mm.
Like, like I'm in this private group where, they and I'm like, uh they were calling, um you match with someone online, and um if you don't hear from the person in a day or two, it's a red flag because they're probably talking to other people. They should be.
But everybody should be,
You
right?
should be.
It's a dating app. You're
It's a
supposed
dating app, and you're collecting data. That's going to lead into our topic tonight. But you should be. Just because you match on a Monday don't mean you should be, that's the only person you should be talking to on Tuesday. People have to People have to show you who they are for you to incorporate them into your everyday routine. That that's okay to be that picky, to say,
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to invite this person into my everyday routine. I have an everyday routine of who I check in with, right?
Mm,
On a daily basis. You can count, probably everybody has those 3 to 5 people, whether it's family, friends, or otherwise, that you know you're going to hear from every day. And if you want to be part of the everyday crew, that takes a lot of investment. Like,
mhm.
I don't expect to be in somebody everyday crew. I honestly, I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I really want to be in somebody in this season of my life. Like, I really don't. Like,
I mean, not when you first meet them anyway. So it's like,
yes,
it's,
exactly.
you
That's
know,
not a red flag for me.
And
no.
so Chris, has your statement changed? Midlife dating is like betting on football. Do you want to change yours now?
No, I mean, it's pretty much still the same. I mean, it's a process, which goes along with tonight collecting data and you know spinning your
And
coin
deal breakers.
and
Yeah.
hoping it work.
All right, so let's jump into deal breakers because we all agreed that we should know what our deal breakers are before we even go on a date and start the data collection process, right? So what do you think about deal breakers, Chris? I'm having a hot flash, by the way. So please. So I'm just letting you know, if y'all trying to figure out what in the world is happening over here, I'm trying to be as dainty as I can with my little cloth,
Get your
but
fan.
I
Get your fan.
I
Yeah,
forgot. I forgot. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so Chris,
yeah,
please, deal breaker.
yeah. I mean, I think they're different for everybody. You just got to figure out what works for you, or doesn't work for you. For me, honesty, transparency, that's a deal breaker. I know we kind of joked about it with 6'3" versus 5'3", but to me, it's like if you're lying about the little things, you know, where is it going to go from here? And so, you know, that sort of shows your character, that if something as small as what you actually look like, which, you know, God bless you for how you are. So, love it, right? Um, so if you want to lie about what the big guy gave you, what else are you gonna lie about? So,
Right.
you know, I mean, you could lie about your job and how much money you got in the bank, but it's when you show up, you can't grow a foot, you know. So honesty, transparency,
Yeah.
because that builds, whether a friendship, a romantic relationship, you know, it builds a foundation.
Okay, so ladies, for all of our contingency that was watching and wanted more, Chris, he said honesty, transparency are deal breakers. So if we lie on the profile or are not honest and transparent, then you're asking yourself the question, what else are we lying about? Right?
Mhm.
Okay. How about you, Shawnee?
My my deal breaker. I don't have that many, because you remember when we started this journey, I said my expectations was so low.
And I
But
said, please change that. Yeah.
right. But I do have a deal breaker in how you introduce your former relationships, how you talk about them. I'm looking for, I'm not looking for a detail, especially on the first date, right? But if you come out the gate with your partner was and you use expletives to describe them, and just become very angry and just bringing them up, for me that's a red flag. And it goes back to last week, or a couple, whatever episode we talked about being whole and healed. So I'm
Mhm.
watching how, especially if you have children with these people, right? Because you we've got to always remind ourselves that, you know, your kids are only half of you, right? So the more negative you are about the same person you co-parent with, or you like went half on a baby with, that's that's alarming to me. Like I'm going to side, I'm just trying to figure you out in a way that's not, I'm not trying to judge you, because we all come into relationships in a different way, but I think if you haven't sat with your previous issues in a way that you can say, you know, it just didn't work out, we wanted different things. There's a way you can say things without degrading the other person. And that's what I'm looking for. Like, don't disrespect the other person. Like,
My,
and
my,
they can be the
hey, my
worst
pastor would say,
ever.
you picked them. So
Yeah,
you gotta remember that. So
yeah.
it's,
At
you
one
know,
point
that
they
was
was
the
a good.
choice that you made. So that does say, I mean, not being judgmental, but it does say something about your character, because you at one point you chose them. So
Exactly.
you know,
Yeah.
So that's saying, so then if we bash them, we're actually, does that mean we're kind of bashing ourselves because they were our choice?
I mean, you picked them.
You picked them. You gotta take some
You gotta
responsibility.
own that, right?
You gotta own it.
But I also agree, if you're that angry, right? Have you looked at self? Because right, relationships fall apart, right?
Yes.
But and you can have, a person decides they want to move on, right? It takes two to make it work, right? But it's everybody does something. So a lot of it is telling when everything is always the other person, you know.
Mm.
It makes me think that it was probably you,
Yeah.
you know. So
Absolutely.
that's the way it comes off to me, right? If everything is your ex, your ex, your ex, your ex,
But what about you? Because
yeah,
we are not like
I'm
I
perfectly
know.
imperfect. I know that. I
Yes.
accept it. I love it. I embrace it. Right. So
Yes.
what did you what part did you play? And it's telling if you ever ask somebody that question, the attitude that they get when you ask that question.
Yes.
Ooh.
That really reveals it is you. It probably
Yes.
was you. You know.
So, as from the male perspective, Chris, so if you hear a woman, you meet a woman and she's just going on and just dragging her ex for filth, is that impressive to you, or is that a,
I mean, 'cause I know there's two sides to the story, right? There's the truth, there's her truth, his truth, and the truth. And somewhere between what she's saying, what he would say, is reality, right? So I'll be honest and be like, I hear you, but I mean, I don't know what his side of it is. So, or I
Mhm.
would say the same thing, if you were telling me, if one of my guys was telling me, I don't know her side of it, right?
Mm.
I mean, I hear your truth, right? And I ain't saying you right, I ain't saying you wrong. You both can be right because you see it from your perspective, but don't necessarily mean you can both be right and both be wrong at the same time. So, but without knowing that other person's, you know, I mean,
So then we talked about talking about the deal breakers. So you met the person, be it organically, and when we say organic, in the grocery store, out on the street, or whether
mhm.
it be cultivated online on an online dating platform, you got your deal breakers tucked, and you're clear about that, and it's date time. What is, and we touched on it a little bit in one of the other episodes. Let's talk about the date. What are some good first date, second date ideas?
I mean, all depends on the person. I
Okay.
mean, like Shawnee said, it could just be meeting for coffee. Could be a walk on the beach. Meeting up in the park. Going going to a comedy show. I mean, it. You know, just really, I guess it depends on what each other's likes and dislikes are, right? So, if you got in common that you like, walks on the beach, I mean, that could be a date. So, just really depends on, what each person says they enjoy doing. So,
Okay, so here's a question: is it distasteful to go Dutch on the first date?
no.
No, no,
Shawnee, I'm feeling something. I'm feeling that there's something
well,
behind that. No.
no, because I mean it's coffee. Like I don't, I like I like when men plan a date for me. I like that. I think that also shows a level of leadership that I'm looking for
Mm,
to take the lead on planning the date. So um but I'm not always expecting that on the first date, right? Like if we get past the first date, like I've had first dates have been for me coffee dates. I've had breakfast, and that
mm.
was just kind of based on scheduling, right? I've had a lunch date that didn't end until dinner,
Oh.
right? That was really that was that was my best date in 2024. I will have to say. It was just such a great date. Like um we started at and I really think because you go back and you like Monday morning quarterback the whole scenario, and I
Mm,
think the meeting for coffee sets the tone, especially for people that are intentional or men that are like really intentional that want to date, but but maybe they've had bad dates, so they're a little leery on on if they should invest their right, because it is an investment. Like let's
mm,
Right.
mhm,
not call it let's not shy away from what it is, right? It's a time investment, it's a money investment, right?
mhm,
I saw this TikTok a few weeks ago about how this a younger guy out of our age range, but is new to DC, right? He's like early 30s, and says dating in this area is expensive, right?
mhm,
Right? And he is right, right? And I understand. Look, like, because I don't need you to wine and dine me and then a week later borrowing money. Like, so you date within your range.
Oh my God.
Date within your
Oh
range.
my
So,
God.
so if all you can afford on that date is a $5 latte, then come with conversation, because I'm not even gonna think
Mm,
about the $5 latte if we are vibing, right? But if you're a one topic person, then it's not gonna go anywhere with me. I'm gonna be bored. I because I can talk about everything. I can go from sports to politics to religion to music. I can talk about anything. And if
yeah,
I
but just
don't know the
but
topic,
but but just I mean, bouncing from topic to topic, just because you're you know is there substance or is there
yeah,
just conversation,
right,
right?
right,
Because I mean, going from, like you said, from sports to politics and everything in between, but it's is there substance there? Because if
right.
you're constantly changing the subjects, there's probably not substance in within
I,
that conversation. You're trying to clock watch and let me feel this time, and okay, now let's talk about the weather in North Afghanistan. You know,
right,
you know,
right.
we,
No,
we just gonna, we just
yes,
gonna fill this. We just gonna fill this time up. You drove,
yeah,
I drove. So
oh,
yeah.
okay. Wait a minute. There's that part. You drove and she drove. Now that's the
mhm.
other thing on the first date. How do you feel about both people meeting up? Now, I don't know if I shared this. I'm not a very trusting person. I don't come out the gate trusting people. So I sure to God am not having you come to pick me up on the first date for you to know where I live. And just in
Right.
case I never want to see you again, you parked outside,
Yeah,
when I get home.
I agree with you. I mean, you
Yep.
don't. I mean, you don't know. I mean, whether you meet them online or you meet them,
Right.
at the grocery store, you really don't know them. So, to me, there's nothing wrong with that, right?
I agree.
It's a safety factor in this day and age because you got some crazy people out there. So, I might even want you. I know when I first got on like the online dating stuff, I picked some like random neighborhood that was near me. So you don't really need to know exactly where I'm at, because hey, I don't know you people. So
Right.
it's so
And so is it the same with men? You all don't want the crazy Lisa to know where you live just in case.
I mean, because crazy women just like there's crazy dudes. I mean,
Yeah.
Okay.
I, I don't want I want no one banging on my door at 2 o'clock in the morning. Neighbors like who the hell, you know. So
Okay.
I'm showing up at my job. You know, I might tell you the type of business I am in, but I ain't telling you where I work. You know,
Right.
Right.
so,
Right.
That part.
know,
Right. Eh,
so
yes. That's important. That's important. So one thing talking about not knowing where somebody works, just I like dropping little nuggets and tidbits. So if you work for the federal government and you got a stalker, somebody that's crazy, you don't necessarily have to call, you don't call the local police, like if it's in DC, the DC police, or if it's in Maryland, the Maryland, whatever county, that county police office, you can call Federal Protective Service because it's federal property. I've seen it happen. In order to get crazy stalkers away from your place of business, because then it's like a federal offense and all that other kind of stuff. So please, ladies, men, do not let anybody know where you're employed until the individual gets to that place where there's some level of exclusivity. You've had a conversation about where this relationship is going and you have a comfort level, right? Okay. So date. Okay, so now during the date, what are we doing? We're doing data collection. So we talked about this behind the scenes before we went live. Chris, how, because we don't want to be a turn off, but women are inquisitive. How do we do the data collection in a way that's not a turn off, overbearing, aggressive? That ugly
I,
word, aggressive.
I mean, to me, it's like just ask what you want to, ask what you want to ask, but just I mean, to me, it's like ask it in a respectful manner. Just be like, But I mean, a lot of it. I mean, to me, the data collection comes in every interaction, right? So
Okay.
you're picking up different, because you're learning, right? You don't know this person, and so whether it's texting back and forth, phone conversations, even on the date, right? You're picking up different bits and pieces of information. Did what they said on the phone, is that the way they act when you meet them in person? And then a lot of times, um, a lot of the data collection comes from facial expressions. Some people ain't very good at hiding their stuff, so they out their mouth they're like, oh, it's all good with a frown on their face. So it's on that date you're picking up those other little nuggets of details because you're watching them and how they're you know not just what they're saying, but how they're saying it and what's on their face when they're saying it. So you collect all that information in, and and ask them
So
about it. If you feel comfortable enough, you know.
so we could say, "Hey, can I ask you? I like to ask you a few questions or something like that," or and that's not a big a big deal. You
No,
don't feel like
no,
it's the Great Inquisition.
No, to me, it's. I mean, I think it's all about you know, you got to understand the level of where you guys are at. I'm all about transparency, right? I mean,
Hmm.
so you just got to be comfortable in where you're at with the questions that you're asking, right? And then and also know that you're in the learning mode. So be careful what you ask for, right? Are you ready for the answer? And so
Oh,
don't get offended, you know, if you get an honest answer to the question that was asked. And so
and so would you agree with, or do you agree with, and don't ask any question that you're not willing to answer yourself? How about that?
it's always a good thing, you know.
Okay. And Shawnee, what do you think?
I agree. I think you have to be prepared for the answers. If you're going to ask a question, you got to be prepared for the answer that you're getting, right? And I think a lot of times, and then I think we got to be honest with ourselves and with each other, right? Because I think a lot of times we go into these situations where we're not being honest with ourselves. We're not being honest with in ourselves and what we want. And then most of the conflict is unmet expectation. So
Mhm.
if you are going into a situation where you have not been honest and transparent about what you are looking for or what you want, uh, and you have not had a conversation on what this is, whatever this is that you're doing with this other person, then yeah, it's gonna feel weird. Yeah, the questions are gonna be difficult to answer or to receive because you wasn't being transparent.
So when you're doing a data collection, is that also when you determine whether or not you're going to go on a second date?
Part of
Yeah.
it. I mean, I think.
Mhm.
I mean, if everything is bad, I mean, I don't see why you would go on a second date. I you know
So how do you say? So you've done the data collection. You know your deal breakers. You're on a date. So what is a respectful? Because now we're talking about midlife dating chronicles. We're not in our 20s. We're not in our 30s, right? We're talking about 40s and up. So what is the adult, the grown folk way of letting somebody know or having the conversation, thank you, but no thank you, without ghosting or hurting somebody's feelings or anything like
I
that?
mean, if you don't feel a connection, right? I mean, I think you should be honest. Like, I know, we, seem like we were hitting it off, but you know, there's, it's, you know, I'm not feeling the connection anymore. So, I mean, I think you should be honest with them. Of, you know, don't drag somebody along. Just, that's just pure respect.
Yeah. I it's interesting because I never know. um I think you know when there's not a connection. When you both know, I think the gray area is when one person is feeling the other and it's not reciprocated, right?
Mm.
And then you don't know, right? Because I went on 2 dates with a guy late last year, and I think after the second date, I think we knew because of the awkward hug we gave each other when we were
Mm.
going back to our cars, right? It was the side hug. You know the side hug, right?
Yeah,
Y'all laughing because
not
y'all know.
no, yeah, not the my brother in Christ kind of,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
churchy
so
hug.
it was kind of like we knew that we're never going to see each other or talk to each other again, right? It was like it was very subtle, but we
Mm.
knew this. Like we didn't even have to have a conversation,
Yeah.
right? But I think it's the when you're not feeling someone and they keep texting, right?
Mhm.
or they keep reaching out, and
Yeah.
you're like, I'm not really feeling this person. And then it's the awkwardness of having to say that in a tactful way. And I think you just got to take the band-aid off and
Mhm.
say, you're amazing, but maybe they're not. I don't know. But just say, it's I know it sounds cliche, but it is you. It's not them, right?
Yeah.
You can say that.
Yeah.
It sounds very cliche. It's not you. It's not you, sweetie. It's me. Right? I'm just you
Yeah.
I'm just not that into you.
Yeah.
I
I
know
mean,
that sounds
it,
harsh,
it
but
I mean, I think you can do it tactfully, but I
yes,
mean, but you have to do it, right?
you have
So,
to.
and
It's
it's,
not always.
and as much as which, I mean, if we just met, I know it can still be painful, right? But, it's going to be a lot less painful now than, you know, down the road.
Because it's something. Because the fact that we're on a date, there's something. There's
Yeah.
something that we're exploring. There's some level of attraction or chemistry. So I feel like I agree. Something has to be said, clearly articulated. And it's not even it's you, it's me. It's, I just don't feel like if I don't feel like you're my person, and if you're not my person, then I'm not your person. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
you need to be free we both need to be free in order to continue to explore
Hmm.
and find our people, our person.
And I,
Yeah.
and I want to normalize our feelings, right?
Mm,
I think we have gotten to a point in society where there's got to be a reason for everything. And you
Hmm.
can't just say, this doesn't feel right to me, or this doesn't feel like a good fit. And that could be that's the reason. How you feel can be a reason, but people always want you to unpack that. It's
Yeah.
just a feeling. I just got a feeling that you're not the one,
Mhm.
right?
And and it depends on how long I've known you, whether because you may be right, but
Yeah,
you know, I've known you for less than a month. This is our first date. I don't need to unpack that for you, right?
exactly.
It's
Yes,
I mean, it just really all depends. If we've been going out 6 months, a year, yeah, I may feel like I owe you an unpacking, but
yeah,
first date, yeah,
no,
okay,
it's
so you said something there, Chris, that I want to kind of jump on a little bit. Unpack. Since we're using that term. Because you mentioned if we've been talking for a month and we're going on a first date. So how soon do you think is a good idea to go on a first date?
I mean, it depends on your vibe, right? Y'all can meet today, chat on text, chat on the phone, and be on a date in the next 2 days. I think it just depends on how much pre-work you sort of do, and what your you know how you feel that connection is going, right? Because it's so whether you meet a person online or out in the world, there was something in that moment that there was some sort of connection, right? Something that you know I asked you for your number, you gave it to me, I called you, you answered, right? So there was something there, right? But it's just an initial spark. Now,
mhm,
how deep that flame goes just sort of all depends. So it's how you meet, whether online or in the world, is just the starting point. You still have that you know building and learning, and you know then when are you ready to go out on that date? So I mean, it
right.
could be a week, could be never. you know just really all depends. So I mean, I'm sure you've had different experiences. You know, one one guy might have been a month, another guy might have been 2 weeks, one might have been 3 months. Just kind of varies in how you were feeling about that person. You know.
Chris, it's been so long since I've been on a date. I so I was kind of thinking about this, like how I don't know. So I'm not talking from experience, but I almost feel like people should go on a date sooner. Are you laughing at me? I saw it.
No,
People
yeah.
people should go on a date sooner rather than later. I almost feel like,
I
okay,
agree.
let's see where this is going. Let's not all this back and forth and people trying to get in your head and your thoughts and all that kind of stuff. Let's chop chop. Let's
Yeah.
get this
I'm
ball rolling.
yeah. I told someone last week I'm not looking for a pen pal.
Mhm.
So if you
We've
want a
literally
pen
been
pal, yeah,
Yeah.
we can do the
I
prison or
no.
whatever. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I
Mm-mm.
really feel like that's a red flag too. When someone does not want to meet in person, like I feel like why?
But that's what I'm saying. I make it feel like it goes back to your honesty and transparency. It makes me feel as though somebody's not being honest about something and they just want to push it off as long as they possibly can.
Mhm.
Yep.
I mean, but have you asked the question of the pen pal?
Yes. Yes. Several
Then,
times.
oh, then that's when you know. Oh, what? Well, I ain't gonna say that. What was their rationale for wanting to still continue to wait?
Honestly, I gotta look back. I unmatched and let it go. But I
Uh-huh.
think the final straw was because it was like, and this is why you got to have your own boundaries and your own deal breakers, right?
Mhm.
Because the conversation was great, right? The phone conversation was great, blah blah blah. The chemistry
Mhm.
was in I enjoyed it, but every time I kept bringing up, and I'm waiting for him to
Mhm.
initiate a meetup, right? It
Mhm.
never came. So then something told me, it was like, Shawnee, you have not because you asked not. So I jump out there. Well, when are we
Mhm.
going to take this? When are we going to do real life? Right?
Mhm.
We will soon, or it's coming, or, and then I wait 2 weeks because I was like, well, maybe it's a pay period thing. I don't
Not a not waiting on the payday. Maybe we waiting
I
on
don't
payday.
know. Listen, listen, I am a hopeless romantic. And Terry Crews said he didn't reach out to his wife of 30 something
Right.
years because he had no money and he had to wait till he got paid. And he didn't talk to her for 2 weeks. And she thought he forgot. And this is before cell phones.
Yeah.
Right.
And on payday, he called her. He said, I can take you out now.
Right. Right. Right.
Listen,
But
I don't
yeah,
know.
but that's the kind of thing that makes me feel like that's somebody that's married. That's somebody that's in a relationship.
Yes. So
Because
the red
yeah.
flags come up when you
Yeah.
don't want to meet in person. And I really don't have time for that. Cause like I tell people, I am single.
Mhm.
Oh, let's talk about that. Okay. So I saw something on IG today that said dating in 2024 is you have to ask like a series of questions. Are you
Mhm.
single? Are you single in a situation? Are you
Mhm.
single? It's like all of these
Yeah.
designations now. What are your thoughts, Chris?
I mean, to me, I mean, I'll be like, I'm unattached. I ain't got no kids. So I want the same. And when I say I don't have no kids, I ain't no kids in the house. So, it's, I don't, you know, I guess I guess going back one of the, small kids, right? Been there, done that, right? I got grandkids now. So I don't want to not have to go out because you got to find a babysitter. So moved on from that.
That is like, I feel you, Chris, because
Yeah.
I don't
So
have, my kids are older. I don't need no babysitter to go out. But one thing, and I love all y'all with children, right? But yeah, I got my kids this weekend. Oh,
yeah,
they
I'm
are,
good.
if they're a certain age,
And I look at it. I mean, I had kids. I raised step kids.
yes,
Right. My babies are 21. So I'm getting ready to have my 12th grandchild. I don't need to raise no one else's kids again. I've been there, done that.
yeah,
I put that duty in, right? Uh, so I, I guess I agree. I'm single. I can
yeah,
do what I
Yeah,
want when I
yeah.
want, and you know,
yeah,
Because that's a huge turn
that's the
off.
only designation you need to be a single, right? It's no, I gotta check on that, you know. I mean,
because
I get it at our age. If you like, I'm taking care of my parents, so
Right.
that's a different conversation than I got a 4 year old, you know,
yes,
Oh my
yes,
God. Oh my
so,
God. Oh my God. Oh,
so
I thought I
yeah.
was muted. I'm sorry. I thought I was muted.
but you feel
I,
triggered. You feel triggered, Dr. Lisa. You got a story?
oh my
You got a
God.
story about a 4-year old?
When I hear, you know, I, oh my Lord, see, I'm having another hot flash. When I have, when when I have heard, I can't tell you, when I say when my kids are grown, they're grown and out of the house or whatever, and then a man says, oh, yeah, my kids are grown too, blah, blah, blah. And then later on in the conversation, getting back to honesty and transparency. And then later on, when they say, yeah, but I have a 10-year-old. Nah, nah, dude. No, you can't have a 10-year-old because when I said my kids were grown, you said your kids were grown, and now you
Mhm.
have a 10-year-old. I'm
Yeah.
not interested. Oh, that's
Yeah, did
not
you
right.
forget?
It's not right. It's not right for you, but it's right for me. Because
Yeah.
I
And,
don't want every other weekend. I don't want baby mama drama. I no want it.
and let's be clear on the fact that you just conveniently forgot you had a whole human that you were responsible
I,
for.
I
That
had the same experience. I had the
that
same
says a
conversation
lot.
with grown kids, and then we was going out, and it was like I got to find a babysitter for who?
For
I,
what? A dog? A fish?
I got a
A
5 year old
cat?
for the last time I was on online dating. I'm like, ah, well,
You got
Yeah.
Whoa, run that back, Chris. You got a 5-year
yeah,
old from the last time you was on online dating.
that's what she said. I'm
So
like,
you
oh,
don't so
I
you
got
don't
to
make
go.
wise decisions. Okay.
Oh, I would say I'm not a ghoster, but she was like one of the first. She's one that was on the list because I was like, you broke so many honesty, transparency, and it was just like, yeah. So, but yeah,
Yeah. And then the other thing is, again, at our age, right?
yeah,
We're not in our 20s anymore. We're not in
yeah,
our 30s. So if for me, if you have somebody still young at home that you're raising, that's fine. But where was the protection?
yeah.
Where was the conversation whether or not you want more kids and all of those kind of things. So in order to get away from unpacking all of that, I'm just not doing it. So Rosa talked about the aging parents. My parents are aging,
Hmm.
so that's the stage of life that I'm in. So yeah, and that
I mean,
that
but to me, that's a different scenario, right? It's and I guess in the same breath, right? Because I got a gang of grandkids, right? If you have to step up and take care of one of your grandchildren, right? I mean, that's a different scenario, right? Than I got a 5 year old, you know,
correct,
me,
correct.
having me stepping in because you know one of my kids couldn't do something and I need to provide for my grandchild, but I would be honest and transparent about it. This is my grand, it's an honesty conversation. Or if you're taking care of your parents, right? And to me, that's a different conversation, but it's also a different characterization that you're showing of this is the type of person that I am, that I step in when needed, right? So there's a different characterization than I'm 50 having, getting ready to have a 1 year old.
Right.
Yeah, that's not
That's a whole different conversation than I'm helping raise my grandchild or taking care of my parents, you know.
correct. Because we're at the stage, I would think, where we're talking about vacations, we're traveling, we're enjoying the next phase
Mhm.
of the journey as best we can, right? Okay. Well, then that kind of leads us into what we're going to talk about next week for
Mhm.
episode 4. This was a limited series. We said that from the beginning. Episode 4 is our final episode where we're going to dive into what's next, right? We're healed and whole enough to even date. We went over the profiles, the truth and lies. Tonight we talked about deal breakers. We talked about dating and data collection because that's what data is. We're
Mhm.
collecting data, um, and they're collecting it on us as well to see if we're going to go to the next phase. And that's what we'll talk about next week. Is at what point? Think about this, Chris. At what point? Oh my God! Do we even ask? Do we even ask what's next? And is that the woman's role to ask the question? What are we?
No.
What's
Doing it.
next with Shawnee?
I'm not doing that.
I mean,
We talk about it next week, but I'm not doing that.
because we talk about being chosen, right? And who does the choosing? Oh, wait, Chris, you laughing a little too
The
hard,
face that
Chris.
you made when you asked that. uh,
Because then that's that. There's that conversation. When do you come off the
yeah.
dating app, or do you? Um, and how do you even have that conversation? And do we as women have to wait for you all to have that conversation,
Mm-hmm.
Chris?
I don't know. I mean,
Come on, brother. You.
I guess for Shani, yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I hadn't even thought about it that hard. So I got a
So
week to think.
think about it, please. You have a week to think
Yeah.
about it. So if a woman says to you, y'all have gone out on a few dates,
It's
the
been 6
chemistry.
months or longer. Like I think you got to put a
Okay,
time frame on it,
Yeah.
okay.
right?
So
It's
six
been
months or
6 months or
longer.
longer. You had this is here's the scenario. Let's have a real life scenario,
Mhm.
and then we'll set it up this week, and we talk about it next week. You've dated for 6 months or longer, and you see this person at least 3 times a week,
Mhm.
and you've already gone on a vacation together.
Sound like y'all in a relationship.
Oh my God,
But
are
you
you
haven't you
serious?
haven't you haven't named it though.
But how
Uh,
do you go on a vacation? How, wait a minute, Shawnee.
y'all
How
got
do
a
you
rental
even?
property too?
I mean,
but wait, roll that back because how do you go on vacation with someone? I don't know. How do you
well,
even go on vacation with somebody?
the same way people will be married for 10 plus years and then say, I ain't never wanted to be married.
But I don't understand how you go on a vacation. I'm not going on vacation with somebody that we haven't had a conversation about
Okay. See, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I'm not spending that kind of time, energy. I'm funny about my space with somebody that is we
So you
haven't
would have
had.
to. So you would have to be clear on your stat on who what you are to each other. So you would have to go. So okay, let me rephrase it. So
Yeah.
for you, you need to be exclusive to go on vacation
Mm-mm,
with someone.
I didn't say exclusive, but we just
Okay.
need to have some sort of designation of what we are before going on vacation,
Okay, yeah, we
right?
really gonna have this is gonna be a good episode because then I need to know what the difference is between going on vacation with your friend as
Mm.
opposed to going on vacation with I don't know with
So this is what I tell people that I talk to about coaching through the dating process and all of that. I feel like you need to go even before you decide on getting super serious, right? You have to go on a trip together. You and I feel like there are ways to go on a trip. I feel like you should go on a road trip because you can see some things on a road trip. I feel like you should go on um some place where you have to go on a flight somewhere, and then maybe another mode of transportation, maybe a cruise or something like that, because you can see how the person engages with people. How do they drive? You know, do they ask for directions if you need directions? These are because this is still part of the data collection. You're still
mhm,
gathering data on each other.
yeah.
Um, because Chris, I don't think you want to be driving somewhere and the woman's in the front seat yelling at you, turn left, turn right. I didn't say go this way. You
Yeah,
know
yeah,
that tells you something.
yeah. But I agree with that because I just U-turn on that one. Uh,
Now, y'all heard it here. U
uh,
turn. Okay. Yeah. So we got to get into that.
Yeah.
mhm.
We have to get into that. So Chris, so you would go on vacations or take trips with somebody that just what constitutes going on a trip or something like that for you?
With a friend
Mhm.
or yeah,
Okay. See, Shawnee, you say she's just a friend. Oh,
Yeah.
baby, you.
I mean, as if you establish going
yeah,
in of what you are, maybe the trip will solidify that it's more than
Right.
friendship,
yeah,
right?
True. True.
Maybe on the trip you be like, no, I want like, I want to see where this goes, right? Like, I mean, I don't know.
No, I agree. I think it's part of the data collection
Yeah.
experience.
mhm,
Like we had the hurricane here. Um I evacuated, but then there were people who were like, "You didn't get yourself a hurricane bay," and I'm like,
No, you don't want one of
"Nah."
those. You don't want that. Because people got COVID base, they still trying to get rid of. You don't want that. Mm-mm. 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 The world's not gonna end.
But it may end if you get a hurricane bay or a snowed in bay,
Yeah.
and it's not the right one.
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah.
Chris, you in Florida too? You on the other side?
Booze and barbecue. That's what I did. You know, I'm,
You said booze and barbecue.
hurricane party.
So that's the thing in Florida is the hurricane party. That's very real. Now in the DMV, when it snows, we run out of toilet paper, eggs, milk, stuff
And
like
bread.
that, and
Hmm.
bread. In Florida, when there's a hurricane, the liquor store, the ABC wine store, Total Wine, the alcohol aisle on the grocery stores empty. Okay, empty. You can get
Yeah.
yourself some toilet paper, paper towels, paper plates. But alcohol and wine, nah, ma'am, no, ma'am.
Because
That's hilarious.
there's a process, right? So I was telling a coworker today that was visiting, and I was like, so day one, if your power go out, then you barbecue everything that's in the refrigerator. Day two, if your power's still out, then you barbecue what's in your freezer.
Yeah.
And then day three, you start eating canned goods and hope your power come back on.
but you
Yeah.
drinking starting
But you're
day
drinking the
one.
whole time.
Yes, but the drinks are being poured on day one. Yes.
Oh yeah. As you're watching the
As you
news,
waiting,
see where it's
as you
coming.
watching the news, waiting for the
Right.
TV, waiting for
Yeah.
the power to go out. Yes,
Yes.
100%.
Oh yeah.
100%. Yeah. Okay. So that's what we're going to talk about next week is
Good.
what's next. Oh my God. And how to get to what's next and who can ask what's next or what are we? Or do
Yeah.
you even ask?
Whoever's willing.
Oh,
I'm
that's
not
another
asking anymore. I've been asking for too long.
that's another
To
pain point.
I need somebody to take it back to 8th grade for me. Will
Knock.
you go
What's
with me?
eighth
Yes
grade?
or
Knock.
Wait a
Now
minute.
you gotta keep on knocking. The door will be open.
no?
Say the Lord.
Will you go with me? Yes or no?
Yes or no?
Yes.
Oh, you can't see it because it's white
You
paper.
gotta
There
make
it
it
is. Yes
clear.
or no?
And then until I get eggs, I'm dating them
Not the
all.
little what was the little thing you did with the little
Oh, that's
Yes,
right. The
yes.
origami thing.
colors
The
and numbers?
origami, yes. I need it. Yes.
And
We
then
gotta
you
go back
opened
to
it up
basics.
Open it
and
up
then
and
you
read the print.
unfolded it. Exactly.
Oh
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Yes. Oh,
I don't know
see,
what these
this
kids see. These kids are so they don't know what
Yeah.
they do. You
And if
know.
you don't know what that is, then
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't,
you
that's a
not
red
you
flag
not
too.
in midlife.
You're
Exactly.
not in
You not in
midlife.
Uh,
you are not in midlife. Oh my goodness. Yes. Yeah. So what's okay, okay, so talk about not in midlife. Oh, real quick. I know we gotta wrap it up. So then how young do you go? If we talking about midlife dating and not and how young, how low can you go? Can we go to the
I
floor?
oh God.
I mean,
I promise you, there's only water in this. I just want y'all to know there is only water in here. There is no wine. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I have a confession.
uh oh, this is my confession. Usher,
So
yes.
so the age thing, I have been very, I don't know, call me prude, but I've been like really a little bit concerned with the age thing because I feel like the older I get, I'm attracting younger men, right? But the younger men are way more like, I don't know, the men my age and older are just mean. They're mean. They want to be pursued. They're like angry. And the younger guys are just a lot more willing to go out and do things. But there
Mhm.
is this one gentleman friend that keeps calling that is like on my birthday. I I partied very well for my birthday last month, and I was in the Uber going back to my hotel, and I was cracking up because my girlfriend says something about 1985, right? And this
Mhm.
little he started laughing and said I wasn't even born, and I said, "I what am I doing?" He was, I was like, "What am I doing?" Shawty, go to bed. He wasn't born to 1988, y'all. I don't know. I'm feeling some type of way.
I
I
mean,
feel
it,
like
yeah. I mean, no. I mean,
but but gotta
have fun.
he has
Uh,
the soul of a 50-year-old. Like I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Okay, Chris, what say you? How young is too young?
I mean, I don't know about relationship wise, like friends. I mean, I've talked to like 30-year-olds. You know, I, I
Relationship.
don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't. It would be hard to see myself in a relationship with a 30-year-old since I got kids that age. So,
Yeah.
um, you know, probably mid 40s would be the you know the cutoff, but I don't know. You know, what's meant to be is gonna transpire.
Yeah, Pastor Belinda said music would be a concern. Right. That's
Right.
what I thought too. But no, like I think he was raised by his great grandparents because he's like,
Oh, he's
Yeah,
an
like,
old soul.
yeah.
Yeah.
yes. Yeah. But I agree with you, Chris. Like I get real I would get real uncomfortable if I was dating someone that was the same age as my kids.
Hmm.
Yeah, like
Well then, well then maybe that's the cutoff. If it's
yeah,
somebody that could date your kid or the same age as your kid, maybe then that's too young.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, join us next week for the fourth and final episode of the Midlife Chronicles limited series, where going to dive deeper because Chris is going to think about it, in terms of what's next and how to even go about what's next. Who gets to ask the question? Exclusivity, taking trips together, right? Because we're midlife. Meeting family. When do you take it, to meet family, if ever? Meet the kids. Does that mean it's open field for you? What does that mean, Pastor
Yeah, that's
Belina?
why I'm asking the question, try to figure that one out.
Yeah, let's ask. What does that
Expand
mean?
on that one.
I don't know what that means. So hopefully she'll see it before we wrap up. But yeah, so that's the question. What's next? Who gets to ask? The guy or the girl, we want to be chosen. Oh, right. That's right. Pastor Belina
Oh,
doesn't have children.
okay. So yeah,
Right.
I guess she got
Okay.
18.
Oh my gosh. No.
I think you go with what's comfortable for you.
Yeah.
Like I think it's a comfort is I don't think we set a I think that's the problem too. We set rules and parameters on what other people need, but
Mhm.
I think it's what's comfortable for
Nah,
you.
nah. See,
Yeah.
I know Pastor Belina, and she's the auntie to my kids, and I'll be John Brown if she shows up at an event and she's with somebody who could date Naomi, my daughter. Nah, that's not cool. That's not cool, Belina. Mm-mm. Unacceptable.
Hey, hey,
No.
you cannot put your expectations on the high, right?
Yes, I can
Like she
because
said,
if
she's free, she open.
because if I expire, she's one of the aunties that'll be looking after my kids. So I can put all kinds of parameters. I can put all kinds of parameters. No way. Uh-uh. I'd be
No.
turning over in my grave. No ma'am. No ma'am, no sir. So anyway, okay. So next week we went a little overtime, but we really had a good time. You see, I'm trying to drag it out every little morsel since next week, next Monday, 7:30, is the last episode, and yeah, what's next? Who can ask the question? What are we? What am I to you? Am I no longer single? Single? Are we in the situation, exploring and taking down dating apps and profiles and stuff like that? All right. So think about it, Chris. Think,
We
think.